Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is time for Fantasy Football Harsh Reality. I'm your host, as per normal, Greg Romero Wilson, and I'm joined, of course, in the background by the one and only Jeff Schimmel, everybody. Jeff Schimmel behind me. And here we are, ready to talk about Week 5. Quickly go through it. Crazy week. Started weird with, of course, the New England Patriots on Thursday night versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it was one of those ones where Brady, is it just me or is every week Brady beginning to look a little bit more human? And it's because obviously Gronk sat out this time. And now and the thing is, as someone who owns Tom Brady in two different leagues, it's very difficult because, people were talking about the Madden curse. You put somebody on the cover of Madden, all of a sudden they have a shit fucking season. And I'm like, but it can't happen to Tommy Brady, not to sweet Tommy Brady. No fucking way. And yet, he looked very mortal. He only threw for one touchdown. He had a fumble. He threw an interception. He got sacked a couple of times. It was a very, very, and this is against the Tampa Bay team who had only had one sack in the, 172 offensive plays previous. So, and then they came out and got 2 on the New England Patriots. So, there's a part of me that's very concerned. But at the same time, it's a Thursday night game, and as we all know, Thursday night games can be very weird. Weird stuff always happens on Thursday night. I don't like Thursday night games. I always like having a player in them if I have to, and then I always regret it. I'm always like, why did I fuck with a Thursday night game? It's always fucking weird. You never know what's going to happen. So that started off very weird. Mike Gillislee, I'm dropping him. I had him in one league. Obviously, started out hot. What did I say about Week 1? Week 1's always an aberration. He had 3 TDs in Week 1, but then he had 1 TD in Week 2. So I thought, okay, so Recedes, at least he's a goal line guy. And then nothing. Nothing for the next 3 games. Total bupkis. I'm packing him up and I'm shipping him off. Obviously, James White is more or less the guy to have because at least he catches the ball and the position that they're in, not having that many wide receivers left. Obviously, Chris Hogan's value has gone through the roof. Dwayne Allen, you thought he might have a good game because Gronk is out. Nope. He just stunk it up. But hopefully Gronk is back next week and all gets right in Patriots land and Brady is back to being Brady. Let's hope so anyway. That's what I'm hoping. Obviously, though, let's just get right into it. I said it right there at the top. Elementary, my dear Watson. Oh, my God. Deshaun Watson, 5 touchdowns again. It reminds me of last year when Jay Ajayi came out and had those back-to-back 200-yard games, and I was like, there's no way he does it again. I felt the exact same way about this week. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way Deshaun Watson gets 5 more touchdowns. Now, before he threw for 4, ran for 1. This time he threw for 5 fucking touchdowns. Now, I'm one of those people that has DeAndre Hopkins. I was hoping that he would have an uptick with Deshaun Watson. 4 receptions, 3 of them for touchdowns. 75% of his receptions were for touchdowns. Is that a good thing? I don't know, because you want to see volume too, but fuck it, I'll take 3 touchdowns. Wound up being like 25 points, an amazing performance, not enough to get me the win. Heartbreaking week for me. I have one team that's doing very well, one team that's right in the middle, and then one team that's sucking ass at 0-4. And it should have won last week, and they stalled out again. And then this week, all I needed was 4 points from Tariq Cohen. Now, you'd think in a matchup with a new quarterback, it's going to be a lot of swing-out passes, just a quick fucking dump to him. Not once. They kept handing him the ball like he was a normal fucking running back. It was absurdity what happened. He gave me 1.3 points, enough to lose for the 5th straight week. But I tell you what, that's one of those losses. All night long, I'm waking up going, how the fuck did you not get 4 points? How the fuck did that? It felt like such a lock, and I said something. I was like, by the time you read this, I should be beating you in fantasy football. And I said, but I may have just jinxed myself. I'm telling you, I can't say shit. The second I say shit, it fucking guarantees a loss. 4 points, that's all I needed from the motherfucker.
Hey, Greg, can I say something?
Yeah, jumping in here. Jeff Schimmel, jumping in.
Jump in. I'm entering all your information here, getting you ready for...
Yeah, see, back here, doing the stats.
Doing all the research. Yep. But let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Would you hire someone named like Leroy Shabazz Washington L to do your taxes?
The liberal in me says yes.
Okay, but would you really? Think about it. If you could hire anyone to do your taxes, are you going to hire some, like, you know...
No, you want a Feldman. You want
Right.
something in the very Jewish variety is
Right.
what you is
Okay,
what you
so
want.
if you wouldn't do that, why would you expect someone named Cohen to get you the points that you need on a football field? Probably
Jeff
not gonna
Schimmel,
happen.
everybody. No, you're right. And that is a very odd thing because it is a very Jewish last name.
Yes.
And it is a very odd thing
Yes.
to be out there. But the guy's shown a lot of spark. But the thing is, he's trying too hard now.
You don't understand. See, if his father's Jewish, let's say...
Which he
his
might
father's
be. That
Jewish,
may be the
he
case,
might
like
be.
a Lenny
We'll have to-
Kravitz situation.
We'll have to do a little bit of research on that. But if he is, you got to remember something. He may have wanted to play football, but he just can't shake his father's voice in his head saying, "Oi, don't get hurt."
Right, don't
You know,
get right.
fall
Think about your
down.
future,
Right, when
your
guys are coming-
kids.
yeah, when they're coming at you, fall down.
Right.
Stuff like that. I mean, you're betting against the type.
I hate to say it, but he's got a point. It's my
Right.
fault for going with a black Jewish running back. For all I needed was 4 lousy points. 4 lousy points.
And you get what you
You
should
get
get in that situation. But by the way, I would just say one more thing
Yes.
before I go back
Yes, to
my
go doing the research,
exhaustive
yes.
research.
Yes.
And that is that, yes, Tom Brady is slowing down. I agree with you on that. You
Yes.
can kind of start to see it.
Yep.
But the cheating makes up for it. So
Right.
as much as
The
Bill
cheating does help.
Belichick continues to do his little shticks on the side,
Yes.
Tom Brady will be okay. He already is the greatest quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely.
But with a little bit of help here and there, he can, plus a call every now and then.
Yes, he does get a few good calls, and that's the other thing. You know, before we go any further, I'd like to go through my fuck yous. These are my big
Wow.
fuck yous to the people that really disappointed me this weekend. And you brought up an interesting point, and I would like to. My first big fuck you goes to the referees. Fuck you, you fucking cocksuckers. You're not the stars. No one's tuning in to watch you. No one gives a fuck about you. But yet you make every big play about you. If there's a big play, you guys got to call it back just to disappoint fucking everybody and be like, sorry guys, just doing my job. Fuck you and your fucking job. All these ticky-tack calls, calling back huge plays. Delaney Walker, big 57-yard touchdown. Oh, called back for holding. Then they show the clip. It was fucking nothing. Okay, same thing yesterday. Jordan Howard, big fat run, 37 yards, big fat TD. Oh, there's a little holding. No, there wasn't. They showed the tape. You motherfuckers are just so, you want to be, it to be about you. And it ain't about you. Nobody gives a fuck. I know you want to get it right, but Jesus Christ, for the 30-minute huddles and everything, just fucking, you know what? Just call, unless it's a real foul. Now, I get it. But when you see some ticky-tack shit and you decide that that's enough to call back a huge play, all I have to say is, fuck you. All right, let's keep going. Yes.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
Okay, you know the guys that come out now, it was lame enough before when the refs had to go and get under the hood.
Right, yes.
You know, because God only knows what they're watching under there, right? But now those guys scamper out there with the little thing they wear.
Yeah.
It looks like a bib, like they're wearing some kind of a stupid blue bib.
Yeah.
And then they have the iPad on it?
Yeah, it's a Microsoft notebook
Oh,
or
okay,
some
so
kind.
whatever it is. That job, how would you like to go in and interview for that job? So you go in, right? You go in. What do you have to go to the league, right?
Right.
Not to the team.
No, because it's the referees.
Right. So
yeah.
you go to the league.
The league
and then
office,
you're
right.
like, you fill out the application. They
Right,
call you
right.
in, and they're like, "What applicable
what
background,
kind of work experience do you have?"
When was the last time you were holding like a pad up against your chest? Do you have any experience with this?
Right.
Did you ever wear a sandwich board and walk up and down the street? What do you have to have in your background to be able to get that job? Do you think you can do it? Do you think you can walk out onto the field 8 times during a 3-hour game?
Right, and there's a lot of pressure with
And-
hundreds of thousands of people watching.
Flip down the Velcro cover and just stand there and show it. It looks like they're showing their boobs to
Yeah,
this
it's a
guy.
very odd thing
It's
that they've
very
created.
gay. It's
Yes.
super gay.
Super gay.
Right, and maybe, why don't you do this to take a little bit of the gayness out of it? And I don't really care, personally.
Right, sure.
They could be flaming. They could be wearing, like, pink feather boas when they go out there. But maybe if you made the hood black instead of that kind of, it's
Yeah.
that turquoise blue.
Right? You think that? Think that would man it up a little bit?
Yes, it doesn't look good.
Okay.
It's a bad look.
It is a weird look. It is kind of a weird thing. It's like a cigarette girl comes out to help them make a
That's
ruling.
what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
like have you seen this, guys? I know, it's very strange, and they've made it all about them and that little huddle and them talking about it for fucking ever. And then you gotta get right. Wait a minute, let me check the time. Let me get the fucking, just don't call as much shit. You guys have made it all about you. Fuck you, refs. The Saints, you guys wasting 5 games with Adrian Peterson. Thank you for finally fucking trading him. As somebody that owns him in 3 leagues, but I fucked up. I released him in 1 league, but at least I kept it. I almost released him rather than back down, so I still have him in 2 leagues. He's going to Arizona. If you were smart enough to hold on to Adrian Peterson, I wish I'd held on to him in all 3 fucking leagues. I can't believe I let him go in 1, and I'm not going to get him back. There's a guy ahead of me. He's definitely going to take him, so I'm going to have to replace him with LeGarrette Blount, who, by the way, I think is getting hot, and I actually don't mind that much. But I really love Adrian Peterson in this move, and if you can, get him on the wire, get him. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but fuck you, Saints, for fucking hiring him and not knowing what to do with him, just sitting around. Fuck you guys, you fucking idiots. All right, Tariq Cohen, fuck you. I was talking about you earlier. Fuck you, you fucking cocksucker. 4 points, you fucking couldn't do shit. Okay. Seattle, you and your running back situation. This is why I gave up Adrian Peterson, because I picked up both Eddie Lacy and McKissick, because I was like, who's gonna take? Someone has to take over this backfield. And I just, God, there's something about Eddie Lacy, because I loved him in the very beginning, coming out of college, and he was great for me season 1, and then he stunk ever since. And I just I know the potential he has, and then nothing. And now, fuck you, Eddie Lacy. But fuck all you running backs. Thomas Rawls gets 10 carries. Lacy gets 10 carries. McKissick gets 3 carries. Just fucking somebody fucking take this shit over. Case Keenum, you fucking cocksucker. You come into the game, right? You actually get something going. You can't throw it to Diggs. You can't throw it to Diggs. You got to throw it to Thielen fucking 300 fucking times. You're fucking racist. That's what I think. Now, I don't really think that. But Jesus Christ, throw the ball to fucking Diggs. All right, who else we got? Oh, and a final fuck you to Marshawn Lynch. Man, listen, I love you. I got you, but I benched you because I figured Baltimore was going to stack the box against your backup quarterback. And they did. But of course, now, finally, you decide to score a touchdown. Fuck you. You could have done it this whole time. All right, so let's look at some other storylines. Oh, man, how many, if you're like me, in most of my leagues, Latavius Murray got picked up. Almost nobody picked up Jerick McKinnon, and he's still sitting, and he ended up running away with that fucking game last night. I like Jerick McKinnon going forward. I think he sees his opportunity, and I think he's going to do great. Ben Roethlisberger at home. Now, this is when you play Ben Roethlisberger. You play him at home because that's where he's good. 5 interceptions? Jesus Christ. I should put you on the fuck you list. Melvin Gordon, this guy killed me. I was against him in 2 of my games, and he, with his fucking 35 points and, almost, what do you have, 2 touchdowns, almost over 100 yards rushing, a bunch of receptions. Like, fuck, that guy had a great week. Did you guys see the story of the offensive line coach for the Dolphins getting busted snorting coke? Right? And did you see the story behind it? That it was a model, some woman that he was partying with, and she released the tape as a fuck you to the owner because he had backed Trump? Oh, man, that's rich. Man, but here's the thing. The offensive line has been the problem to Jay Ajayi's season. This woman may have done us a big fat fucking favor. Hopefully somebody else takes the reins of that O-line, whips them into shape, gets them on the same page, and Jay Ajayi finally starts paying off, because right now the guy is a straight up bust. Fuck you, J-Train. All right, who else? Yes, Tom Brady is becoming mortal. I hate to say it, but he looked that way at the beginning 2 seasons ago, and he wound up being monstrous down the stretch. So never count him out. I'm not done with Brady, but I do have him backed up with 2 good quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott. How about the Giants losing all their wide receivers? They lost them all. First, Sterling Shepard goes out. Now, he's the one that might come back, Sterling Shepard. But then Brandon Marshall breaks his foot. Clearly, bleh, you're like, that's fucking done. Right? Which you were smart enough to dump him. I was dumb enough to pick him up and play him, and it cost me the fucking game.
I told you, by the way, I have a friend / acquaintance, really,
yes,
back east, who just loves the Giants. He lives and dies with the Giants, mostly dying right now.
Right now, yeah. 0-5. Ha, fuck you.
At the beginning of the season, he was like bragging to everybody, just wait till you see what happens. So after the first game, I would write to him, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
One game doesn't mean anything. 2 games, 3 games, 4 games. Last week I wrote to him and I said, 0-4, don't worry about it. They can still go probably, 10-6?
Right.
They might still be able to make it.
Make a run?
Yeah. After this week, I wrote to him and I was like, okay, look, it's not going to happen.
No,
It's
absolutely
not
not.
going to happen. People got hurt. They stink. Eli Manning looks, I said this last time, and I'm not even supposed to be on your show, but I said this last time, Eli Manning, when he takes the field, looks like he lost already.
Yes.
What is it about that
it's
guy?
That Manning face, that pouty, like, what's happening here?
Yeah, but he goes, before he does anything, he already looks like this isn't going to work out.
Yeah,
like,
well,
he's
he's got to know that now because he has no receivers left. Now, if Sterling Shepard comes back, I mean, great, but I mean, he's going to be covered by the number 1 cover guy on every team because Odell Beckham broke his ankle. He's gone for the season.
Okay, by the way, I just have to tell you because I did look it up.
Yes.
Tariq Cohen is not Jewish.
Okay, not Jewish.
But he plays like he is. So I would say you need to probably think about.
And I am actually giving him up in both the leagues that I own him in. I'm letting him go because he's again week 1 aberration and then
yeah. You
garbage.
would have gotten more points this week, I think, with Darren Sproles, and I think he's on the IR.
Yes, he's on the IR. You know what the thing is? If I'd used McKissick at least turned up 6 points. If I would have put in McKissick, I actually would have won my game.
That's right, buddy.
Okay. Tough times. So yeah, the Giants lost everything. They're done. Their goose is cooked. Leonard Fournette. This is a guy. I was worried about him because he already kind of aggravated his foot injury in the preseason. Remember, he sat out those games. And then, he does have a history of getting injured. But 181 yards, what a fucking game, that guy. I mean, listen, so long as he's healthy, he's the real deal. And he's one of those guys that I wish I'd delved, gotten because he was definitely within my range. But again, I was worried, one, about playing in fucking Jacksonville where they love to suck. And then the other thing was the injuries. Now, this is, game 5. So we'll see how that holds up over the next 12 weeks if he continues to churn that out. But right now, if you own Leonard Fournette, you're very, very happy and probably winning your games. And that was the thing. It was at Pittsburgh. I never would have played him in Pittsburgh. That's where Pittsburgh's supposed to be the strongest. But they fucking butt-fucked Pittsburgh. Boy, geez, Pittsburgh, for all the weapons they have, they're not looking so good. Cameron Braid's breaking out. A lot of receptions, scored a touchdown. Ed Dickson, this is what we're seeing now. This is what we're seeing in every week. There is a tight end du jour. There's someone that goes out of their mind, and then that's it. I mean, we had Mercedes Lewis with the 3 touchdowns a few weeks ago. Now we have Ed Dickson with 185 yards of receiving and a touchdown or 2. So every single week there's this random tight end that has a big game. Now, about Ed Dickson, I think Cameron Braid's starting to see some consistency. And the reason I do like Ed Dickson is the reason I don't think it's a mirage, a one-hit wonder with him, because of the way they used Greg Olsen so much. I think it's something that he's going to continue to look for there in Carolina. So I would definitely, I don't think I think that was a breakout game for him, but I think you're going to see some consistency coming down the road from Ed Dickson. DeAndre Hopkins, I mentioned this before, 3 out of his 4 receptions were for long-range touchdowns. It was pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited about that. But Will Fuller, I think he got a touchdown or 2 as well, and he's also doing great. This Deshaun Watson train, I don't know where it's going, but I mean, if you got Watson, ride that sucker till it runs off the rails. Mitch Trubisky, I tell you what, I thought Mitch looked real good. He didn't put up that many points, but I'm telling you, by the second half, he was rolling. Even though he doesn't have a lot of receivers, I like Kendall Wright out of that group, and I think it's going to open up the running game for Jordan Howard. I think they should just stick with Jordan Howard, because when they do, things happen. Tariq Cohen, go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
Hunter Henry finally got a touchdown. But you know what? He only had 3 receptions. So while I would love to say, oh, man, he's starting to come alive, I don't see it. I think it was just a good game for him. It was just an opportunity for him to catch a touchdown. I'm not that excited about Hunter Henry. Jared Cook, go fuck yourself. Luckily, I changed him out for Austin Seferian-Jenkins. And ASJ, he got me a touchdown. He got a couple good receptions. And he's another one that I think may be a regular part of that offense. Because really, who else they got? They got Curley. They got Javon Curse. I mean, he's got just as much of an opportunity to catch the ball as anybody else, especially in the red zone. I like holding on to ASJ. Houston defense. This is another one marred by injuries. I played them over Seattle because Seattle was against the Rams. Seattle ended up having a great defensive day, but I didn't like them because they were on the road. The Rams have been hot. So I went with Houston because they've been hot and the offense is hot, and they had the other team coming into town, Kansas City, who albeit is an incredibly hot team. But I thought that defense, but of course in the first quarter, they lost both J.J. Watt and Merciless in the first quarter. And without them, they're just not the same defense, especially against a top team like that.
Come in.
There's someone coming in, yes. Here. Okay, thank you. You look great. Okay. Let's move on. Oh, T.Y. Hilton.
By the way, I'm sorry. I have to interrupt you.
Yes, go ahead. Who was that?
That was Erin.
That was
Coming
Erin.
Back for the first time, you blew her off. She came back, this girl just left her job here.
Yes, she just quit on Friday.
Right, and so she's back after just a couple of days, and instead of going, oh my God, Erin, whatever, you were like, just ignored her.
Oh, okay, well.
No, but and then let's pretend that you didn't ignore her, okay? You looked towards the door and went, you look great, but you kept looking here, and you were in the middle of a sentence. So how much do you think she really took that to heart and was like, oh, wow,
what do you want me to do in the middle of a podcast here?
You know how women, no, but you know how women are.
Well,
she could not have taken that as a compliment.
Well, but to her credit, wait a minute, but to her credit, but also, in my defense, she looked so different.
She did.
From last week. She has long, kind of stringy, curly hair.
Maybe a haircut.
She got her hair cut and straightened, so it's like in this bob, and she was wearing like a night dress,
like a red short dress.
Yeah, like a slinky dress with earrings and shit.
And a leather jacket.
Yeah,
Okay, so you took a good look at her, in other words.
But I don't have my glasses on.
Okay, but you took a good look at her, and then you're like, yeah, you look great. Tariq Cohen, fuck you. So
I wasn't sure it was her, to be honest. My vision's so fucking bad. I'm like, I think that's her. I wasn't, but she looks so different. I don't have my glasses on, and I'm sorry, I'm not engaged in that. And I also couldn't believe that she would be here when her last day was just Friday, and today's Tuesday.
She came in, and she wanted to connect and say, I missed you guys, and you're like, yeah, you look great.
Well, and again, in my defense, she was expecting to connect with Freddie, who's not here in the office right now. She wasn't expecting to see me, that's for sure.
All right.
So,
but a warm welcome, nevertheless.
Well, I'll try and throw some warm welcome on her a little later.
Whatever.
T.Y. Hilton, man, him and Jacoby Brissett, 177 yards. I think he had something like 9 receptions. Fucking money in the bank right now with those two. And you would expect that when Andrew Luck comes back for that just to continue. You don't expect that to go down, unless Andrew Luck just looks like garbage when he comes back, which is entirely possible. Frank Gore. Frank Gore's losing ground to Marlon Mack. If you own Frank Gore, you better get Marlon Mack as a handcuff because it's starting to become the Marlon Mack show. That guy, his yards per touch is higher than anyone else in the league. You got the coach Pagano coming out and saying right now, oh yeah, he deserves more carries. So you better fucking Marlon Mack. He's showing you something. Abdullah back down to earth. 4 lousy points. Fuck you, Abdullah. I never believed in that fucking guy. He's inconsistent as shit.
What are you kids doing?
What about Deshaun Jackson? It's all right. Just doing the podcast. Deshaun Jackson. Now listen. This is the thing about covering the defense to pick number 2, especially in daily fantasy. They're going up against New England, so you know they're going to take away your best player. Who's the best player? Mike Evans. They took Mike Evans away. I think he was only good for 6 points. Deshaun Jackson wound up exploding. So you kind of want to follow that trend. Same with Arizona. Patrick Peterson. Everyone's going to be excited to get Aguilar off the wire this week, but the reason Aguilar got all those touches was because of one thing, and one thing only, and that's Patrick Peterson shutting down Alshon Jeffrey. So he shuts down Alshon Jeffrey, so now all of a sudden what's his name is free to fucking run around and score points. But that ain't going to be against Patrick Peterson every week, so don't expect Aguilar to be able to do those kinds of numbers. But even Torrey Smith got in the act with that big touchdown. Okay, what else happened? There was a guy in one of my leagues that actually started Eli Manning over Cam Newton. boy, that had to feel weird.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper, man. Whew. Was that you? Did you start? You didn't do it, wasn't you?
No.
Amari Cooper. Oh no, I had Eli Manning in our league. he got me some points. I mean, listen, but I'm dropping him immediately because I had David Carr. Although it looks like David Carr is going to be back. Thank God. Oh, he hasn't done that much for me this season. I expected a lot more out of him. Amari Cooper, what a dick sucker this guy. This guy just can't. Fucking Crabtree comes back, fucking broken chest, and he still manages to fucking hang up a bunch of points. Amari Cooper gets like 3. I hate you, Amari. Fuck you. You gotta fuck you too. Duke Johnson, he's clearly the guy to have in Cleveland, not Isaiah Crowell. Remember preseason, everyone was talking about Isaiah Crowell. This is the year that got a great line. I was like, I don't know about the Crow. Now, there have been a couple of games where I thought he might bust out. Didn't do it. Duke Johnson is clearly the guy to have that. If you have him, if he's available, check the waiver wire. He might still be out there. A lot of people don't believe in him, but he's turning into a really consistent fantasy football player. Although I love that Deshaun Kaiser finally got benched in favor of Hogan, and then Hogan came out and he really moved the ball. Hogan seems like the kind of guy that is tired of being overlooked. He got his chance, and he looked pretty good. Alshon Jeffrey, obviously, I benched him. I benched him in favor of Devin Funchess, which, by the way, if Funchess is still available in your league, you need to pick him up. His consistency is opening things up for Kelvin Benjamin. So both of them together are both pretty good, although Devin Funchess seems to be the more productive in fantasy. But Alshon Jeffrey, I benched him because of it, and sure enough, he didn't produce because Patrick Peterson is one of the true shutdown corners in the NFL.
Who is?
Patrick Peterson.
Good.
From the Arizona Cardinals. So it was quite a week. A lot of weird shit, man. A lot of strange games, but I mean, you know, some very... But I feel like it's starting to settle in. The real performers are beginning to find their consistency. You know, newer guys that were flashing a little turned out to be flash in the pans. We're beginning to see a little bit of consistency out of the tight end position. So, although it's still not much, Martellus Bennett still not doing anything. Jared Cook still not doing anything. So, although Griffin down in Texas is starting to get some looks, and don't be surprised if he becomes a bit of a factor down there because Deshaun Watson is just slinging that fucking ball. All right, so now as we look at the waiver wire, ladies and gentlemen, players to target. Marcus Mariota, a lot of guys dropped him, thinking he was going to be out a long time. Looks like he's coming back sooner than later, trying to get Mariota. Peterson, if you're in a league with some dumb shit like me that dropped him, I only dropped him in one league because I wanted an active player, but if he's out there, you need to grab Adrian Peterson. It's AP time. Jerick McKinnon, obviously, very hot. He's going to be top. Although, I mean, we'll see. We'll see if he can continue. I think he's making the most of this. Marlon Mack, I like. Orleans Darkwa. He's the running back that's doing things out of New York. But, you know, without a passing game, they're going to focus on shutting down the running game, make him throw the ball to these nobodies that he doesn't have any chemistry with. I'm not big on Orleans Darkwa going forward. Dixon, like I said, I do like Ed Dixon to continue this trend. Go with him. And LeGarrette Blunt, man. You know, he looks so good, and yet they just keep taking him out. But Smallwood did zip this week. It was all Blunt. Expect Blunt to continue to be the man, to get hot. I like him to start scoring touchdowns. I think it starts this week. Go out and get LeGarrette Blunt if they have left him on the waiver wire in your league. All right. Any final thoughts?
Well, I just have to make some adjustments on my team.
Oh yeah, this is his first year doing it, right. And he made the classic mistake of leaving in half his team that was on bye.
Yes, I had 4 people, I think, maybe 4, if not 4, definitely 3.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is that I ran into one of the other people in the league in the hallway.
Yes.
Knowing damn well he knew that it was too late for me to do anything about it on that day. And then he started teasing me about what a bad ass kicking I was going to get. And then when I went and looked, I realized that I did make that rookie mistake. So I would warn anyone, look.
It happens.
Yes, it took me, I had to take a horrible loss to someone who was gloating over the fact that I didn't get Gronkowski out in time.
And not only this, it's like the number 2 guy in our league. Like the last guy that needs a freebie week. Yeah. The Winter Hill gang, he gave him a freebie.
Yeah, but I think I have a shot this week. I've made some moves.
Yeah.
I put a lot of people up to be traded. Nobody's asking for any of them.
You know what the thing is?
Great people.
You know what the thing is? You're putting them on the trading block, and nobody really looks at the trading block. You have to actively look for who you want on someone else's team and directly make an offer for a trade.
I get it.
That's how you actually activate the trade process. Because no one ever looks at the block and sees who's up for trade. Not in our league anyway. I mean, that's for more serious players who are really involved. This is more of a casual league in the office. So if you really want to trade somebody, figure out who what type of player you're looking for, find them on somebody else's team, and make the offer directly.
Okay.
That's how that
Good
is.
advice.
There you go.
Appreciate
This has been another week of Fantasy Football Harsh Reality. I'm your host, Greg Romero Wilson. Thank you very much for tuning in. Remember, follow me on Twitter at @TheGregWilson. If you have any fantasy football questions, lineup dilemmas, hit me up there. I'm happy to answer them for you. Although I don't know what guru I'm. Remember, I'm not a guru. I'm just a fantasy football enthusiast. So I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you guys are having a great season. And good luck and happy footballing.